Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I am Azaz and today we are diving into a super practical Python project which is expense tracker. Whether you are trying to manage personal finances, track business expenses, or just practice your Python skills, this project is going to be perfect for you. By the end of this video, you will have a working expense tracker right from your terminal. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an awesome coding tutorial. So, what exactly are we building today? Our expense tracker will be command line application where you can add expenses with categories, amounts, and descriptions, view all recorded expenses, see a summary of your spending habits, save your data to a file so nothing gets lost. We will be using core Python concepts like functions, file handling, lists and dictionaries, loops and conditions. This is a great beginner friendly project but also practical for anyone wanting to learn how to apply Python in real world scenarios. First things first, let's set up our project folder. I will name it expense tracker. I already created a file. So, where we will write all our code. So, make sure you have a Python installed on your system. You can check by typing this command to check the Python version. If it shows a version number, you are good to go. Okay, so let's open the tracker.py and start writing the basic structure of our app. First, create a list to store all the expenses. So, expenses equal to empty list. Okay, now after this function to display the menu. So, here we use the display menu. Now, print statement. So, here slash n for 5 times expense tracker menu 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now after this print, so 1 add new expenses, print the second one is view all expenses, the third one is show expense summary, and the last one is dot save and exit. So here we have created an empty list called expenses to hold all our records, and the display menu function will show user their options every time they use the app. Okay, now let's create a function to add a new expenses. So this will collect information like amount, category, and a short description. Function to add a new expense. Okay, so define add underscore expense. Now here we use the try. So amount equal to float, and here we use the input. So enter the amount. Okay, now after this category equal to input. So enter category, example food, rent, travel, etc. Okay, now after this description equal to input, enter a short description. Okay, now after this expense dot append. So here we use the curly braces. So the first one is amount, the second one is category. Okay, the third one is description. Okay, now after this, here we use the print. So expense added successfully, or after this, accept value error. So print, please enter a amount, valid number of the amount. So this function prompt the user for input and store it in a dictionary list. So I also add a little error handling in case someone enter a non-numeric amount. So it's expenses dot append. Okay, next let's create a function that display all the expenses added so far. So function to view all the expenses. So define view underscore expenses. Okay, now after this, if not expenses, so print no expenses recorded yet. Okay, and after this, return and show the print message. Okay, so slash n 1 2 3 4 5 all expenses 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now here we use the for loop for I expense in enumerate expenses and 1. Okay, now here we use the print, which is a formatted string. So use the parenthesis, so I, it will get the number. So dot dollar expenses expense. So here we use the amount and minus parenthesis expense. Here we use the category, and after this, here we use expense description. So this function goes through each expense and display the amount, category, and a description in a clean format. Now for the exciting part, let's show a summary of expense categorized by the type. Okay, so function to show expense summary. So define a show underscore summary, and here if not expenses, so print no expense to summarize and return. So here use the summary equal to this. Now after this, for expense in expenses, so category equal to expense category summary category equal to summary dot get category comma 0, and after this, plus expense amount. Okay, now after this, show the print message starting from the new line 1 2 3 4 5 expense summary by category. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now again after this, use the for loop. So category total in summary dot items. Okay, so here we use the print f, use the parenthesis. So here we use the category semicolon dollar and total. Okay, so this helps you understand where your money is going by breaking down spending into categories. Now the last part is to save the data in a file. So let's add a function to save all expenses to a text file when the user exits the application. So function to save the file. Okay, so here we use the define save underscore expenses. Now this. Okay, so after this, here we use the with open. So here I am copy the path. So I save the file in the downloads folder with the name expense.txt w with write, so as a file. Now after this, so for expense in expenses, so here we use the file dot write. It's a formatted string, so use the curly braces expense. Okay, so here we use the amount, and after this, again use the curly braces, so expense, so category. Now after this, expense, so description, and after this is slash n, it's mean go to the new line. Okay, now after this, here we use print, so expense saved successfully. So this way, every time you close the app, your data will saved automatically in the file called expenses. Now let's create the main loop to bring everything together and run the app. So here we use the main loop, so while true, so display underscore menu. Now after this, choice equal to input, choose an option, so 1 to 4. Okay, now after this, if choice equal to 1, then show the add expense function. Now after this, elif choice equal to 2, so it will show the view expense says. Okay, now after this, again elif choice equal to 3, so here we use the show underscore summary, and after this, elif choice equal to 4, so after this, save expenses and show the message thank you for using the expense tracker, so goodbye, and break the program, else print, so invalid choice, please select a valid option. So This loop will keep the app running until the user chooses to exit and save the data. Now let's test the app and see how it works in action. So run the program. Okay, so here you can see the expense tracker menu. So I will add a few expenses. So for the expense, select one. Okay, so amount here I'm using the $1,000. So category food and description. So here I'm add the description for food. Okay, so expense added successfully. Now again adding the next one. So $200, which is for rent. So description for rent. Okay, so after this again the last one is add new expense 500 or 100. So here I'm using the miscellaneous and enter a short description. So this is the description. Okay, now here I am viewing all the expenses. So for this here we use the two. Okay, so we get an error on the description. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake, which is on line 41. Description. Okay, so again run the app. Now I add only one expense to save the time. So enter the amount, which is 100 for food. Description for the food. Okay, now select the two, view all expenses. Okay, so here you can see the one at serial one, $100, category food, and the description for the food. Okay, if you want to show the expense summary, then select the three. Okay, so there is also an error with the category. So this one, save and again run. Start from the beginning. Add the expense amount 100, food. This is the description. So now I'm selecting the show expense summaries, which is 3. So here you can see the food and dollar is 100. If now select the option 4. So 4, expense saved successfully. Thank you for using the expense tracker. Goodbye. Now I am checking my download folder if the file is created or not. So here you can see the file is successfully created. And that's it. So you have successfully built your own expense tracker in Python. So this is a great foundation, and from here you can try adding new features like a monthly expense limit alert, data visualization using libraries like matplotlib. The last one is exporting expenses to an Excel file. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like, subscribe and comment below with any question or ideas for future videos. Thanks for watching and happy coding.